and welcome to Voices of Truth One-on-One with Hawaii's Future, brought to you by the Kiwani Foundation. I'm Ehu Kekahu Cardwell, and here we are today on the island of Maui, and I'll tell you this right now, we have a fascinating guest on the show, so let's go on over here and meet him. Keith, aloha.
Aloha.
How are you? Keith Pono Apana. Keith, we wanted to have you on the show today because you have a very interesting story about your life, and this area here, this neighborhood, is where you grew up, yeah?
Yeah, up to 18 years old, I lived here.
Wow, and then what happened?
After that, I moved to the mainland to go to school, and thought I wanted to go into design school for clothing.
When you met your wife and flew over here, you had already moved back to Hawaii, yes?
No, I was just visiting.
Really? From
Yeah,
where?
From Los Angeles.
Wow, so you were living in LA at the time.
Yes.
Flew over here.
Yes.
Get off the plane, they drive you over there, you walk in your old house, and boom, you meet her.
Yeah.
And
pretty
hit
much.
it off.
Yep.
You guys got married.
Yes.
And then she moved back to Los Angeles with you, yeah?
Yes.
And then at some point, something happened to your wife, something bad, yes?
Yeah, what happened was she was, the struts on our SUV gave out and it hit her in the head. And she had
So the roof of the car came down and hit her on the head.
Right.
Okay.
in the back door, and it gave her a severe concussion.
Mm-hmm.
And she's been suffering with it for about 2 years now.
Really?
And so she lost a lot of ability to function normally, you know, like bright light gives her migraines. Mm-hmm. Too much interaction or multitasking is like very challenging for her. She can't function normally because she just shuts down and she just wants to hide somewhere, go to her room. And so it's very hard for her to work normally. She used to be an attorney, help hundreds of families, and now she can no longer function as in that capacity anymore. I had to start working from home and taking care of her on a daily basis and making sure that she was she was okay in the house and making sure that she wouldn't fall down and hit her head again. I had to basically just stop my job and just solely take care of her. And so what happened was, after working from home for so long, my job said, hey, you know what, we don't need you to come in anymore. So that allowed me to just take care of her.
So were you working at home from that point or not working at all?
I was working at home from that point, and also doing a lot of freelance work. Mm-hmm. And right after that I felt like, there was an opportunity for me to change career. And so what I did was I signed up for culinary school.
Culinary school, as in cooking?
As in cooking.
Wow,
yeah.
What made you decide to do that?
It was always like a big passion of mine, mm-hmm. and I always felt like that was like my calling, but never actually went for it. And this opportunity of not having to go into an office and do the 9 to 5 allowed me to do that. Mm. And so I found a great school and really great instructors and great people. And for about a year and a half, I went there every single day, worked really hard, and did the best that I can, and came out with a lot of great knowledge and very rewarding. Yeah.
Wow. So after taking the culinary school classes for a year and a half, you came out as a chef?
Yes. Went to just solely cooking and being a chef and doing barbecue. And I started catering for all of my wife's office mates and, clients and so forth. And that's kind of how the ball started rolling.
So the word started to get out.
Right.
But hey, Keith is a chef now. And he can cook for my party, and he can cook for his or her party, and it started to grow.
Right. My wife, she wasn't really getting any better in Los Angeles, mm-hmm. and there was just too much going on. And so we wanted to we wanted to put her in a place where she could be safe and have some peace. And so what we did was we decided, hey, let's move back to Maui.
Move back to here.
Yeah. So we're there now, and we're doing our thing again and cooking, and everybody seems to love what I'm doing here. So I'm very happy with that. I'm happy to be a service to the public. It's a lot of work. It's challenging, and but I think we're getting a lot of great traction. And the people here, they've just been super supportive, and they've it's just, there's so much aloha over here that it's just, sometimes it just brings tears to my eyes at how beautiful people are. In LA, it's such a busy town. It's so much hustle and bustle over there that we just really needed to come back to a quiet place for my wife and for us to live.
Yeah.
And it made sense to come back to Maui. And by the way, this is the house that I was raised in up till like from 5 years old to like 17, 18.
This one right here?
This one right here.
So you started out in that house down the street where we were and then moved into this one?
Yeah.
And you became a teenager in this one?
Right in this house.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
So this is the old neighborhood.
Keith, at some point you begin to get some ideas about cooking and preparing food in a special way, yes?
Oh, yes. So, during my marriage with Toni, she got, diabetes. And so I would figure out ways to transform the dishes that I would normally make into sugar-friendly dishes.
Keith, how did you learn how to do that?
The way I learned how to do that is just by playing with my recipes and playing with whatever I know how to make. So I'll just take something that we eat, like chow fun, for instance. So I do what I call a faux chow fun, and so what that means is it's a fake chow fun, and instead of using rice noodles, I just use the bean sprouts, the meat, and then the green onions. Mix that up, and I make it taste like chow fun. But it's healthier because there's no rice noodles in it.
When your wife Toni started to eat these new dishes you were coming up with, what was her reaction?
She loved it. She was like so happy. Yeah.
And how did that help her diabetes?
It dropped her blood sugar a lot. We try to gear what we make to the flavor of what the people want or what they're used to, and we don't make it so drastically different that they're like, hey, what is this? So it's they're familiar with the food, but then it's a little bit different flavor. And so being a barbecue pitmaster, and
what is that?
So a pitmaster is a barbecue chef or a barbecue expert who knows how to play with fire, who knows how to use certain woods to pull out flavors and match them up with certain proteins or vegetables to enhance the flavor of the product. Just as you're using maybe salt or pepper, it's just another flavor element that goes into the meat. But it just really takes it to a different level once you've mastered how to play with these fires.
Wow, how long did it take you to learn that?
Oh, I've been messing with it for like years, like 10 years maybe.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And that all started from going to Texas every year and doing like 600-mile barbecue runs. We just stop in all the old towns throughout Texas and
see what everybody was doing, huh?
See what all the old guys are doing. Yeah.
Wow.
So some of the pitmasters, over there, I mean, their ancestries, they come from maybe Germany or Poland or wherever, and they've set up shop for over 100 years. I think this one place that we went to was started late 1800s.
Really?
And they've never changed.
In Texas?
In Texas, yeah.
Wow,
yeah.
amazing.
And when you sit down and eat that food, it's beautiful.
Wow. All right, Keith, so I want to tell everybody right now that I was a very fortunate person last night because I got to have dinner and eat your food. And I have to tell you, it tastes way different
Yeah.
than what I've tasted before, and it tastes far better
Well, thank
than
you.
food I've tasted before. It was absolutely delicious. The vegetables, the salads, and the meats and the sauces, the barbecue sauce was out of this world. I mean, I ate far more than I should have because it was so darn delicious.
Great.
And what I realized is that food can be really healthy and really, really tasty, yeah?
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
those two are not mutually exclusive.
No.
Wow.
You know, when done right. You know, the thing is to buy the quality product and let it speak for itself. You know, and so for the meat, for instance, I mean that we made last night, big beef rib, salt and pepper, a little bit of smoke, and 8 hours of cookery, and just a lot of passion into it. Just
Wow.
put your aloha into it, and you can't go wrong.
Keith, at what point did you begin to come aware of the health profile of people here in Hawaii?
You know, it's funny because like it didn't really dawn on me until like, you know, Toni got diabetes. But you know, I've been watching it over the years. Like my dad, he had diabetes. My grandmother had diabetes. You know, people in my family, they have diabetes. I mean, it's hereditary, right?
It's everywhere.
Yeah. So, but then when it strikes you at home, to somebody that you really care about and love, it really turns into something else. I mean,
Makes it very personal, doesn't
yeah,
it?
very personal. So you strive to try and make a better life for that person, you know, and better to make them heal. And so that's where it came from.
So did Toni, your wife, develop diabetes before or after you guys had gotten married?
After.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So when something like that happens, it's not a disease that strikes just the person. It strikes all of the people around that person too, yeah?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's literally like not only did Toni get diabetes, but you did too, yeah?
Right.
Because you had to react to it and respond to it and decide what you were going to do as her husband
Right.
to help her with that.
Right. To be proactive about it.
Wow. How did
Yeah.
that make you feel?
You know, at first I was kind of used to it because everybody in my family has it. But then when I started like looking into, you know, her symptoms more and then, you know, the history of her family, then I took it a little bit more seriously and started really like trying to create healthier foods. I did what I can, you know. And so sometimes we would like go, you know, every day we would go out for an afternoon walk that would drop her blood sugar. And she was very like proactive with it. I mean, like constantly checking everything, checking her sugars, going to the doctor, checking her A1C. And that was a really huge part of her life, and it changed both our lives. And, you know, the fact that she had a resource for eating healthy food, that helped a lot too.
Wow.
Yeah.
So did Toni's family have a history of diabetes, Keith?
Yeah, they did.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So her mom has it. Her grandmother had it, and I think her aunt also had it.
So Keith, I'm going to assume that you yourself, you don't have diabetes.
No.
Okay. And you're eating healthy to make sure you don't come down with diabetes.
Yes.
And you exercise.
Yes.
You lead a healthy lifestyle.
Yes.
So you obviously have investigated, know what that healthy lifestyle is.
Yes.
So what do you think can happen now that you're somebody who is kind of like, you know, the picture of how it should be? You know how to cook right. You know how to cook delicious food. You exercise. You know the profile of diabetes and what brings it on and what can keep it under control. And yet, here in Hawaii, diabetes is all around us.
Right.
And when we look around us, throughout Hawaii, we see people that are not leading that healthy lifestyle that they
Right.
could and should be. How do you think we can turn this around? Or can it be turned around?
Oh yeah, you can do so much, but you know the person has to want that change.
Yeah.
You know, they have to decide in their
Right.
brain
Right.
that this is what I want to do, and then act on that.
Yeah.
And so the first thing I would say is no more juices, no more sodas.
Wow.
Drink water, drink teas, drink green teas. You can't force people to change their lives. You know, they have to decide for themselves.
Yeah.
So it comes from within. And I discovered that a long time ago. So,
How did you change?
you know, so I used to smoke a lot, you know, when I was younger. And I just decided one day that I needed a drastic change in my life, and what could that be? And that one thing was that, okay, why don't you just try quit smoking? And so I said, okay, well, you know, I've tried patches in the past, never worked. You know, it just makes you addicted to something else. So I just went cold turkey, and I just never turned around since then. So it's been like over 20, maybe over 20 years. Yeah.
What made that flip inside you, though?
The want.
The want?
Yeah.
So you wanted it bad enough.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. You have to want it. You have to. You have to first decide that you want to do something, and then you have to want it bad enough within you to make that change that's good. And once you can have those two things, then you just act, and then the acting would be easy. And then really, for me, there was really no cravings. There's certain times where, you know, I used to work on the computer a lot, and a lot of downtime on the computer. Whenever I take a break, I would go smoke. So instead of smoking, I had to find something else to do. So I did gain weight from that, and slowly after that, you start getting used to not smoking and finding something else to do with your time. And eventually, that craving and that wanting to fill that time with smoking goes away.
So was that transition period hard for you or not?
No, it wasn't that hard for me because I wanted to change. And people would, you know, and once you have that in your mind that you want that change, and you acted on it already for yourself, people can come by you with cigarettes or offer you a cigarette, and you can just say no.
It has no power anymore over you.
It has no power.
Wow.
You just give it up.
Wow. Okay, Keith, so we've talked about no sodas and no juices, start drinking more water.
Yeah.
What other changes in people's diets would you recommend?
Don't eat so much rice, portion yourself. If you do eat rice and you have to eat rice, maybe just portion yourself to a small bowl. If you can change the breakfast to like maybe a fruit, something very, you know, pretty nice breakfast, but not so much starchy stuff, then I think that's a good way to go. No sugary drinks. Maybe if you're going to drink juice, drink like maybe a kale, something, you know, something very healthy but delicious. And there's a lot of juices out there. So like my favorite juice would be like a carrot, apple, and ginger. So it's a nice sweet. It's got a little bit spice to it. It's delicious. Something like that, and it'll give you a lot of energy. Something like that would be great, along with like maybe, you know, protein, eggs, maybe some sausage. That's fine. Just watch your calories. And then maybe for lunch, you know, you eat something healthy, not so much teriyaki. There's so many other flavors in this world that is just like equally, you know, just as great and very savory tasting. So, you know, try and move away from the sweet, and just really control, you know, because that's a lot of sugar in there, and it's like refined sugars too. So that's even worse.
So refined sugars are far worse than natural sugars, yes?
Oh yeah, yes.
Okay, so what about brown rice instead of white rice? Brown rice much better than white rice?
Yeah, definitely.
So
yeah.
people could eat a larger portion of brown rice, yes or no?
I would stay to the same portion sizes. I wouldn't go bigger.
Okay.
You know, I would stay to the same portion size and try and control your diet that way. Once you can do that, then, you know, whether it's white rice or brown rice, it doesn't really matter. Another product that I don't really see over here, and they should bring it here, maybe you can find it at Whole Foods, is what's called Bulgur Wheat.
Bulgur wheat?
Bulgur wheat.
Uh-huh.
And I learned about bulgur wheat from eating in Armenian restaurants back in Los Angeles. And that thing is like, it's almost like a risotto. And it's just absolutely delicious. And if you mix it with like fresh mushrooms, a little bit of cream, and then maybe some parsley in there, it's a delicious meal.
What about juices? I know when we go in the store and buy a brand of juice in a plastic bottle, if we look on the ingredients, there's a little bit of juice in there, but there's a whole bunch of water and a huge ton of sugar.
Yeah.
Now, if we instead take an orange and squeeze that and make natural orange juice, is that more healthy to drink versus the bottled version, or are they really equally as bad?
No, it's much healthier to drink because, you know, in the bottle, I mean, you have all this concentrated sugar. From an orange, you're getting the natural juices and natural sugar from the actual fruit. But in all cases, you know, you still have to watch, you know, you have to remember moderation. So too much of anything, it could be the freshest banana, but, you know, you eat 50 bananas in one day, it's not going to help you, you know. So you have to eat in moderation, really. Yeah.
So a person could actually wouldn't have to give up juices as long as they drank in moderation some natural juices that they made themselves right from the fruit. Yeah.
Definitely.
At what age did you start to cook, Keith?
My first dish that I can remember, I made chili for a party of maybe like 40, 50 people, probably at the age of maybe 7 or 8.
7 or 8 years of age.
Yeah.
Really young.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then, and you know, really because I love chili so much that, you know, my parents wouldn't make it for me every day. Not every day, of course, but, you know, all the time. And so what I did was I asked my mom or my dad, probably my dad, show me how to do it. And he showed me how. And I just, from memory and from taste, that's how I kind of built my palate for it. So the recipe I have for chili has been like ongoing evolution since I was like, you know, 8 years old.
Wow. And how long did it take you before you got beyond the, oh my goodness, I just burned that phase?
Oh, I still burn stuff. I still burn stuff, but you know, I mean,
it's like, so what, right?
So,
I burned
you
it.
know, yeah. So what? You throw it out or you eat it or something. You
Right.
know, so, yeah. But,
Right. So what I'm hearing you say, Keith, is, you know, for our viewers who don't cook, but are really interested in what you're saying here and want to try this out for themselves, they should just jump in and start to try it.
Yeah.
Just experiment.
Yeah. I mean, there's this wonderful thing that's available to all of us. It's called the internet.
Yes.
So go on the internet, find a healthy recipe, and just use wholesome food. And don't try and make like this crazy souffle, you know? Start very small.
Don't set the house on fire.
Yeah, don't set the house on fire. Don't burn your oil, for one thing. Don't make your pan too hot. And just really have control of what you're doing and know and understanding what you're doing and why. And start with a very simple recipe.
Voices of Truth One-on-One with Hawaii's Future airs throughout Hawaii, but it also airs in many, many cities around the world. And it could be that somebody right now on the other side of the world is watching you and me right now, and they're saying, well, you know, he lives in a place with an abundance of food, a lot of options, and where I live, we don't have much money, we're really poor, we don't have many foods to choose from. Some of us go to bed hungry each night, and yet I want to improve the health for my entire family here under the conditions we live in. What would you say to them? What's your message to them?
I would say, you know, I mean, you don't have to eat expensive. You can eat very cheaply, but still be a very nutritious and great meal. And I would say to try and buy the freshest that you can, resource product. So, you know, find out who the farmer is in your town. And maybe if you don't have money to buy, maybe there's something that you make that he wants. So do a trade, you know. So it's just like the old Hawaiian way, you know. And maybe there's something there that you can do to get the product that you need. But as far as, you know, cooking wise, the The cooking, again, it's the same. And I think that people, you know, if they're passionate about what they do and they really want to do a great job at cooking or preparing a meal for their loved ones, it's achievable.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, you know, in the early days, simple flour, you know, like wheat and water made bread, and you know, people survive for thousands of years that way. So, I mean, there's ways to overcome the you know, impoverished, you know, situation in different countries.
So it can be done. Yes?
Oh yeah, it can be done.
Wow.
I feel like it can be done.
Wow, wow. What a wonderful message. And Keith, that's where we have to leave it. Mahalo for being on Voices of Truth One-on-One with Hawaii's Future. Please keep doing what you're doing. Please keep cooking. I know I want to come back.
Yes.
And eat some more of your food because it's so delicious. So thanks again, and don't stop what you're doing. And to our viewers, mahalo to you for joining Keith and me on Voices of Truth. Remember, you can watch us on the web 24/7 on voicesoftruth.tv.com, and you can visit Voices of Truth One-on-One with Hawaii's Future on Facebook. I'm Ehu Keikahu Cardwell for the Kiwani Foundation, along with Keith here. And until next time, ahui ho! Mahalo for watching Voices of Truth One-on-One with Hawaii's Future. Watch us on the web 24/7 at voicesoftruth.tv.com. You'll find all our shows, including this one, in case you want to see it again or share it with family and friends. Also view our weekly video commentaries at freehawaiitv.com. And check out our blog, published daily, at freehawaii.info. It's all part of the Free Hawaii Broadcasting Network.